My wife said that this is not our baby. I'll never forget the day my world turned upside down. My name is Ethan, and I thought I had the perfect life. My wife Clara and I had been married for 5 years, and after a long, emotional journey of trying to start a family, we finally welcomed our son Noah into the world 6 months ago. He was our miracle, our little bundle of joy with Clara's bright blue eyes and my dimpled smile, or so I thought. It was a sunny Saturday morning, and I was in the nursery rocking Noah in my arms while humming a lullaby. Clara had been acting strange for weeks, distant, distracted, always on her phone. I chalked it up to the stress of being new parents. But that morning, something felt off. She walked into the room, her face pale, her hands trembling as she clutched her phone. "Ethan," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "we need to talk." I looked up, smiling, thinking she wanted to discuss something mundane like Noah's feeding schedule. But the look in her eyes told me this was serious. My stomach twisted as I gently placed Noah in his crib and turned to her. "What's wrong, babe?" She hesitated, her eyes darting to the floor, then to Noah, then back to me. I don't know how to say this," she stammered, tears welling up in her eyes. "But this isn't our baby." The room spun. I felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. "What do you mean, this isn't our baby?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Clara, what are you talking about?" She broke down, collapsing onto the rocking chair, her sobs echoing through the nursery. Between gasps, she explained everything. During her pregnancy, she had been working late nights at her law firm, and one evening, after a few too many drinks at a company event, she made a mistake, a one-night stand with her colleague Mark. She swore it was a one-time thing, that she regretted it immediately, but when she found out she was pregnant, she convinced herself the baby was mine. She didn't want to lose me, didn't want to destroy our marriage. "But a few weeks ago," she continued, her voice barely audible, "Mark reached out to me. He said he'd done the math, and he suspected Noah might be his. I didn't want to believe it, Ethan, I swear, but I couldn't ignore it anymore. I got a DNA test done behind your back." My heart stopped. "And?" I managed to choke out, dreading the answer. She looked at me, her eyes filled with guilt and shame. "Noah isn't yours. He's Mark's." The words hit me like a freight train. I stumbled back, my mind racing. The baby I'd held, fed, and loved for 6 months, the baby I thought was my flesh and blood, wasn't mine. I looked at Noah, peacefully sleeping in his crib, and felt a wave of emotions I couldn't untangle. Anger, betrayal, heartbreak, and a strange, lingering love for the child I'd raised. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to storm out of the house and never look back. But instead, I stood there, frozen, staring at Clara as she sobbed. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I finally asked, my voice cold. "I was scared," she whispered. "I didn't want to lose you. I thought if I pretended everything was fine, we could just move forward. But I couldn't keep lying to you, Ethan. You deserve the truth." The truth. The truth was that my entire life had been a lie. The family I thought I had was built on a foundation of deceit. I didn't know what to do, where to go, or how to feel. Part of me wanted to walk away from Clara forever, but another part of me couldn't imagine leaving Noah. He wasn't my biological son, but he was still my son in every way that mattered, or so I thought. Over the next few days, I barely spoke to Clara. I moved into the guest room, spending my nights staring at the ceiling, replaying her confession in my mind. I couldn't bring myself to look at Noah without feeling a pang of betrayal, but I also couldn't stay away from him. His innocent giggles, his tiny hands reaching for me, it broke my heart all over again. I decided I needed answers. I called Mark myself, demanding to meet him. He agreed, and we met at a quiet coffee shop downtown. He was a tall, polished man with a confident demeanor, but I could see the guilt in his eyes. He apologized profusely, saying he had no idea Clara was married at the time of their affair. When he found out about Noah, he felt obligated to reach out, not to claim him, but to give Clara the chance to come clean. "I don't want to take him away from you," Mark said, his voice steady. "I just wanted the truth to be out there. What you do with it is up to you." I didn't know what to say. I hated him. But I also saw that he wasn't the villain in this story. Clara was. She had made the choice to lie, to hide the truth, to let me fall in love with a child she knew might not be mine. When I got home, Clara was waiting for me, her eyes red from crying. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice trembling. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said honestly. "But I know I can't walk away from Noah. He's my son, Clara, whether he's biologically mine or not. I've been his father for 6 months, and I'm not going to stop now." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I'll do anything to make this right, Ethan. Anything." I didn't know if our marriage could survive this. The trust was shattered, and the pain was still raw. But as I walked into the nursery and picked up Noah, feeling his tiny heartbeat against my chest, I knew one thing for certain. I would fight for him. I would be the father he deserved, no matter what. The road ahead was uncertain, but I wasn't going to let Clara's betrayal define our future. Noah was my son in every way that mattered, and I would make sure he grew up knowing he was loved. By me, his real dad.